Okay, so I was just thinking about this, and let me know what y'all think. But there has been times where I will be talking to a man, and I won't be feeling it, and people will be like, why? And I'll be like, he's just too nice. And people will look at me like I'm stupid. They'll be like, what do you mean he's too nice? Like, you want somebody mean? And I figured it out. It's not that I want somebody mean. It's just what I'm looking for in a man is masculine energy that is dominant over my masculine energy, so it can bring out my feminine energy. Does that make sense? Like, if I feel like I have more masculine energy than you do, then I feel like you can't really be dominant over me, and I can't be submissive, and my feminine energy can't come out. Does that make sense? Because it makes sense to me. Let me know what y'all think.
Back again for another video. So on this video, we'll be discussing the video that you just watched. I ran across this, just surfing through social media. And I know I already talked on this before, but I figured that if most men hear it coming from a pretty woman, that they'll take it in a little bit more, that they'll start to examine how they deal with women and the ways that they deal with women. This is the overspeak of what I say in my underlying messages, that there is a dance, a conversation to be had between the masculine and feminine. Now, it's unfortunate that a lot of women here in the United States have reached a threshold of masculinity that is so high that you have to actually put a lot of effort into honing your masculinity in order to reign over them in dominance. But that's just the way it is. I mean, this is the nature of the beast. I'm not saying that the beast should be this way or another way. It's just that's the way it is. It's kind of hard for a lot of men to accept that. And I understand, because we were told a lie just like the women were. The women, they lie to themselves continuously, but, we tend to say, nah, that's not a good enough answer for me because it doesn't explain the reality as it sits. So I understand that men know that women should not behave in such a masculine way. But what I'm saying still holds to be true, that the higher you hone your masculinity, the more likely you are to find a woman to submit to you. That's just the way it is. Well, not even to find. It's not even necessarily that you even have to look. The more women who will submit to you, just because you have a high level of masculinity. That's just how it works. That is the conversation that these women understand. I've often said many times that a lot of women in the hood, they choose so-called masculine men, the really aggressive men, because you got to look at it on a spectrum, because there are different genres of masculinity. You have aggression, wisdom, intelligence, you have humility. You have a lot of these different spectrums that exemplify the things necessary in order to be masculine. I'm not saying that, a woman cannot have humility and therefore, if she does, she is therefore masculine. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you cannot be masculine and have no humility. That's my opinion. Or a good level of it, or a good balance of it, should I say, rather. You can have masculinity and be a complete pompous a-hole, but it's a stunted masculinity, no differently than someone who is really forgiving. That's not an indicator of a high level of masculinity, because that doesn't allow for correction. It doesn't allow for a lot of correction anyways. It doesn't allow for boundaries, things like that, which masculinity has. So there's a balance to be struck with all of these core values of and the tenets of masculinity is composition. But nonetheless, back to what I was saying. The women, they have risen to such a high level of masculinity at a threshold across the board that it's necessary for you as a man to show your strength in masculinity, to hone your strength in masculinity, if you desire a woman to submit to you, period. And that sounds so cliche because, we always say that, but, I definitely understand that there's no such thing as measuring masculinity. But these women, they're great sounding boards, very great sounding boards. If you have a problem with consistently women not submitting to you in some way, shape, or form, fashion, or you not even being able to recognize it, then you need to up your masculinity. They're great sounding boards. They're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be at all, but that's just the way it is. They're great for finding out things. They're great tools for honing your masculinity, because a lot of these women, let's just face it, they are throwaways. And I don't mean that in a necessarily sense of they're not worth anything, but what I'm saying is that any interaction that you have with them will not pan out to a viable long-term situation. So they end up being throwaways by their own default settings. It's not because we decide that, it's because their behavior decides that. No man will put up with such a high level of BS. I wouldn't ask a man to do that, nor should a woman expect that. And I think that's an unspoken rule that we come to the conclusion of. These women out here, they want to be all masculine, they want to be disrespectful, they want to be hardcore, etc. So they kind of expect that men ain't gonna put up with that. But they only do that because we have a social system that has a bunch of safety nets to save them for when their masculinity doesn't equate to their output of, it's a check their ass can't catch, pretty much. But anyways, in regards to you as a man, if you, like I said, run across these women time and time again, and their masculinity, and you can tell their masculinity is something that is a flame to your face that you can't bear, that means that your flame is not hot enough. And I'm not necessarily saying that that a woman has more masculinity than you. It's just that a smaller flame to a larger flame, it doesn't hurt that flame. It doesn't have any effect on that flame. And if anything, it adds to it and makes it grow more and bigger. And that's kind of how you should be in your masculinity. When a woman approaches you with a circumstance or situation where she is presenting masculine energy, most men, they respond with high levels or mid levels of aggression. Nope, that's not how you do it. You have to respond to her with the other sides of masculinity that she cannot hone the way you can. And that is the wisdom. That is the intelligent masculine. That is the masculine principle. She cannot hone the masculine principle like you can. So how these women submit and turn back feminine, it's because they recognize that their level of masculinity doesn't stand up against yours. That's how. Like I said, in the hood, a lot of these chicks, in order to remain feminine, and this is just my theory, hypothesis, whatever, how you want to call it, that a lot of these chicks get with these so-called thug dudes because they exhibit a high threshold level of a branch of masculinity. Like I said, aggression, reckless abandon, risk taking, things like that. But they have a unrealistic and unbalanceable threshold of it. But the reason why these chicks get with these dudes is because they want to remain feminine. That's why they constantly seek out these dudes, because they want to be soft around them. I don't know what movies y'all watch or what hoods y'all grew up in, but the movies and the hoods that I watch where you have these, super, aggressive males, into vice type things, the women are really soft around them. I don't know if y'all notice this or not. And even in the hood, same thing. I noticed the same chick talk down to, some other dudes, who she thinks that, or she feels that doesn't have the same level of masculinity as she does. Talk to them very harshly, but when she get around them thug dudes, nah, all that cuts. Like I said, I mean, this is just observation that I'm making, observations that I've made rather. And I'm sure you guys can see it too. I mean, for those of you who do not and have not experienced that type of environment, I mean, the movies kind of tell it a little bit, but they don't go into depth about the circumstances and how these things flow in and out. But you can actively see this in a lot of roles in movies, and they're pretty accurate in regards to how the women behave with different types of men. But this is just, once again, just my observational theory, observational hypothesis rather, so it's not nothing strong that I'm gonna say that you should always look for. But what I can tell you from personal experience, anecdotal and otherwise, other men telling me the same thing as well, that if you got your masculinity in check, there's rarely any chicks who will not submit to you in some way. I go out in public and just the way I walk, from the way that I hold my conversations, to the assertiveness that I have, I rarely run into women who are willing to turn up or to increase or show out their masculine frame, the little bit of masculinity that they're willing to have, because they already know that there's no competition to me. That's just my experience. And I've seen this time and time and time again. This goes back to my whole saying about that if a woman starts to get out of hand, show some masculine energy, whatnot, it could be dysfunctional, but sometimes it could be your own actions, meaning that you're showing a lesser level of masculine energy and probably a higher level of feminine submissive energy. So she feels comfortable being masculine to you. That's how the masculine and feminine intertwines. They talk to each other. Rarely. The only time that masculine and masculine talk to each other, when they need to come together to accomplish something, whether that be to destroy each other or to build together. Really, no other time does masculine really talk to each other, to be honest with you. I can't think of many. I mean, if you guys can think of some, sure, put them down in the comments and we can have a discussion about them. I like to hear, but off the top of my head right now, those are only two times that I can think of that masculine talks to each other, to build or to destroy. But anyways, hope this video is a little bit of enlightenment for you guys. Hope you all had a good weekend. I had a very good weekend. Went to go shoot my new shotgun, my little assault shotgun that I bought. Very fun gun. It's from the Landor series, but gonna be buying some more attachments for it. It's gonna be a little fun gun, I think so. But anyways, like, comment, and share. What else do I got to tell you? I might be doing some more live streams. I think I want to do another one with Aka probably this week. She's been really enthusiastic about getting a couple topics out. So those will probably be some upcoming videos. But once again, like, comment, and share. Until next time, this has been Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day and peace be with you.